Good evening, everyone. My name is Poonam, and I'm a business analyst. And today I have the pleasure of conducting a session on business analysis where we will be covering a wide range of topics like that are crucial to understanding the field of BA. The topics that we'll be discussing are vast and complex, and while it would be ideal to dwell deeply into each one of them, unfortunately, the time is limited. So I will do my best to touch base on as many topics as possible and provide you with a comprehensive overview. Okay, so let's do not wait more. We will be just starting with the presentation which I have created for you guys. So today we are starting with the analysis workshop. I have already given the introduction. So we will be starting with this workshop outline. So today what all topics we will be covering in this workshop are introduction to business analysis. What is exactly business analysis? Then what are the roles that a business analyst plays in his or her daily life? Okay, then business analysis planning and monitoring. What is it? Like how to plan, how to monitor the requirements and everything. Then what is the requirement elicitation, requirements management and communication? What are those? What is exactly enterprise analysis? Requirement analysis, how to do that, and the competencies a BA should hold to become a successful business analyst. Okay, so I know there are lots of freshers and some BAs, some aspiring BAs. So I have designed this workshop today so that everybody can understand and nobody is left out with the information. So if you're already having this some knowledge about what I'm talking, so please be patient because there are freshers and aspiring BAs who do not know everything. So I'll be starting like with the introduction to business analysis. So what is business analysis? Everyone has that question in the mind, right? And there is another terminology as business analysis mindset. So what is it? And how to become a business analyst? So these are some taboo questions which we'll be uncovering today. So let's just start. Business analysis mindset. So business analysis is the process of identifying the business needs, gathering requirements, and finding solutions to problems or opportunities within an organization. A business analyst works to improve processes, products, services, and software systems through careful analysis of business data, stakeholder input, and industry trends. Okay. And today we are going to take an example. Like imagine there is a retail company which wants to launch a new online ordering system for its customer. Okay, we will be uncovering this example throughout the session today. So coming back to the business analysis, so business analysis is nothing but to identify the business problems which the customers are facing, to analyze the problems, to find the root cause why he is facing the problem, right, and to create a solution. This is called as a business analysis in simple language. So, for example, if we take this retail company, so you have to connect with the customer. So, we are calling them as a stakeholders. Okay, so you have to connect with them. There are different channels which you can connect with them. Is interview sessions like calls, meetings, emails, and any kind of a dialogue which you can open with them, right? So there you have to actually conduct the analysis where you will be identifying the problems they are facing, actual problems in their life. So for example, if we take the retail company example here, so what is the issue they are facing, why they need to launch a new online ordering system, right? They are having current system, right? Something they are having. So you have to understand what actually they are currently having into their business model, right? So for example, if they are working on manual processes, right, so what are the issues they are facing, why they have been going to a new online ordering system. So we have to understand the root cause why they are going to for this requirement, right? So this is called as a business analysis mindset, and this mindset can be created um, while you are having the analytic skills, like first of all, you have to ask the five questions to the customer. Why? So this is the business analysis mindset where you have to gather all the requirements, the issues, and the opportunities at the same time. Okay. So business analysis mindset actually refers to a way of thinking that focuses on analyzing business problems, identifying opportunities, and developing solutions to meet the business objectives, right? It involves the ability to think critically and systematically, gather and analyze the data, and make informed decisions based on that data. So, this is what a business analysis mindset is. A business analysis with a business analysis mindset typically looks at the big picture and understands how different aspects of the business fits together. So for example here, how the agents are actually connecting with the system, right? How the customers are connecting with the system. So you have to understand that. They consider factors such as market trends, customer needs, organizational goals, and available resources when making decisions and developing solutions for them. Some key characteristics of BA mindsets are analytical thinking, strategic thinking, attention to detail, problem solving skills. Okay. Becoming a business analyst requires a combination of education, experience, and skills. By acquiring these qualifications and continuously improving your knowledge and skills, you can position yourself for a successful career as a BA. So when I'm talking about the education, like what kind of education you need? So acquire the necessary education means you have to take a degree, maybe master's degree, or if you are not having the master's degree, then you can go for a certification of business analysis. We have CBAP and we have ECBA. So you can go for any kind of certification. You can opt, if you do not want to go for a certification, opt for some trainings, some courses online, or you can also get some mentoring done with the experienced BAs. So this is the kind of a knowledge you need. Then gain relevant work experience. Okay. So while we talk about gaining the relevant experience, so for example, if you're working in a project where you're working as a tester, you're working as a project manager, right? Or you're working as a developer, try to get some knowledge from that project itself. Work on some small activities. Try to get the experience as a BA, work under some experienced BA as an intern, or you can just ask your managers to connect with different BAs and get some tasks from them. So you have to gain some relevant work experience, right? If you are having a chance, that is well and good. If not, then I told you that you can go for some courses and they will be giving you some business case studies which will be helping you to understand, actually have a practical knowledge as a business analyst. Then develop some key skills. So there is a certain set of skills which BA needs. That is the analytical skill, strategic skill, attention to detail, problem solving, requirement gathering skill, and communication skill, and lots others. We will be talking them in the next slide. Okay, so we have role of business analyst. So what all role business analyst plays into their day to day official life? Okay, what are the responsibilities of BAs and what are the key skills and qualities required for the business analyst? So this will be covered in this topic. So while we are talking about the responsibilities, it depends upon the project, the organization, or the environment where the BAs are working. So there are different types of business analysts: pre-sales, there are after sales, then there are so when a project goes live, right, and it's deployed, then we need the support to the project, right? So post implementation phase business analyst, Salesforce business analyst, and there are different domains, the people working in financial organizations. So the BAs are everywhere in every domain. So it depends upon the organization and the project itself. So yes, it completely depends upon the project which you are in. So there are some key responsibilities which BA has, like identifying the business needs and opportunities. So while we are talking about identifying the business needs, try to understand what is the problem our stakeholders are facing, our clients are facing, right? And why they are facing it, and how you, and you have to analyze the business problems so that you'll also find the opportunities to solve the issues. Okay, so while you are identifying the problems, try to develop a skill of analyzing the problems, trying to relate it with the business needs of an stakeholder, then analyzing and defining the requirements. Like you have to analyze the requirements. You can take help of certain tools like the Microsoft tool, where you can draw some um, data analysis on the sheets of Excel, where you can get the data and you can analyze the information which you already have. Okay, and you have to define the requirements, like what is the exact requirement of the stakeholder, what he needs, what all problems he is facing. Then next is the developing solutions. So you now have the problem, now you have to articulate the possible solution. There is no one solution, you have to articulate different possible solutions to that exact problem. Then facilitating the communication. Facilitating the communication is like BAs connects with different stakeholders, teammates, then project managers, the whole Scrum team, and lot of stakeholders, different stakeholders. So facilitate the communication with them. What is going in the project, right? All the updates and everything. So this is a kind of a role which BA plays every day. Managing the changes. So managing the changes means, for example, we have lots of requirements, the project is ongoing, right? But there are certain stops where requirements do change. So managing all that requirements, doing an impact analysis, risk assessment, um, is uncovered in the managing changes. Then testing and validating the solutions. So whatever solution is being developed, we have to go through testing phase, like QA is tested, validated, right? So they also play a vital role in testing and validating the solutions which are being created. Then continuous improvement. So continuous improvement is a thing where you have to be there throughout the project. You have to do the change managements, you have to do the enhancements, right? So this encounters in the continuous improvement. Then the next is the skills and qualities required for a BA business analyst may vary depending upon the organization and project. So yes, there are certain skills which BA should acquire or have. First is analytical skill. Second is communication, interpersonal skill, technical skill, business acumen, attention to detail, adaptability, time management, and leadership. So, what is analytical skill? Analytical skill is a skill which helps BA to break down the requirement into smaller components and analyze them to the minute detail. Okay. Then communication skills. Communication skill is a BA should communicate effectively with the written communication and oral communication. So he should concisely able to communicate to the stakeholders what is being actually discussed in all the forums, or what is the update on the projects and different communications happening. So it should be very clear and transparent. Okay. Interpersonal skills. So this is the most important skill I feel. Interpersonal skills are the skills which actually what I can say, create a relationship, create a relationship between different okay, sorry, yeah, create a relationship between different stakeholders, maintain the relationship. You can say the stakeholder management comes in the interpersonal skills, how he actually communicates with the stakeholder, engages with them, and provides the update and continue working on the project. So another is the technical skills. So yes, BAs do need some technical skills, the information about the different softwares, like the different project management softwares like Trello and Teamwork, Jira, and Microsoft, like all the Excel, PPT, and Word, right? And there are different sort of tools out there. So yes, he needs or she needs to have that information. And if you are working under some technical domain, like for example financial, you are a financial BA, then you should have the technical skills of finance. You should know the all the domain through and out. If you are working as a Salesforce BA, then you should know how what is Salesforce and all the technicalities which rolls around the Salesforce, right? Different domains are there, Java and all, right? And some are the completely non-technical BAs, which still need some technical background, or I can say the information of tools which they need on regular basics. Like we have to create some user stories, right? Then we need Jira or some other tools. And for example, we have to create some processes, process model diagrams, and you have to have the VGO and different set of tools, right? So you have to have the technical skills. Then business acumen. So when you are working under some project, please research about the business acumen, what the business they are doing. For example, your customers, if they are in finance domain, then please go and research about that domain, so you know what that domain is, what is their business. So when you are going on a requirement gathering call or an elicitation call, then you already know the jargons and the what you can say, the jargons and the terminologies, right? So yes, you should have the business acumen knowledge, then attention to detail. So this is very crucial skill which a BA holds. Like for example, if you're working under some project with some task, then while gathering the requirements, you should have the attention to detail to each and every requirement, so that a crucial or important detail is not being missed out. So missing is not an ideal thing. Okay, so attention to detail is required. Then adaptability. So in the phase of BA or the project phase, there are different times when people actually change or stakeholders actually change the requirement. So you should be adaptable to that. Time management. So yeah, time management is very crucial. You have to build a plan where the exact timelines, what all things, the sprint management, right? So you have to have that time management done for your project, so you know the end time when will be you actually deploying the project, or the different sort of timelines. So you can use different tools for that, like Gantt charts. You can use simple smart sheets, Excels, and etc. So leadership. So leadership is a basically tool, or you can say, yeah, tool. I would say leadership is a tool which will help you during the phase of a project. So um, what does actually leadership mean? Because BA is the person who will be engaging with the stakeholders, who will be engaging with the team of developers, the team of testers, if there are any sponsors, if there is a management. So you are the leading person. I know there are project managers, but leadership is the crucial thing, which skill which BA should possess, so as to get everything done, everything in very concisely, or I can say run in a smooth way. So this is the quality which BA should possess. Then we'll be having the next PPT as business analysis, planning and monitoring, and we will be covering how to plan the business analysis approach, how to start. Now we know what is business analysis, what are their roles, what skills do they need, right? But how to start the business analysis, so that is mean planning the approach to start on the project. How to conduct the stakeholder analysis. So guys, stakeholder is your client, but stakeholder comprises of different people who are interacting with the project, internally, externally, in any way. And how to do that analysis, so we'll just start with that. Yes. So planning a business analysis approach is an important step in the project management process. Here are some steps you can take to plan your approach. Identify the business problem or opportunity. So just create an application where um, pizzas are being created and delivered. Okay. So my customer needs an application where he wants to deliver his pizzas. Okay, this is the business case. So now identify the business problem or opportunity. So I will ask the customer why you need a business, why you need a application. Okay, so then he will tell me why he exactly need the application. He will tell me, for example, like, I do have an outlet in Pune and we are selling this much, like 100 pizzas per day, and we are getting lots of requests of the customers that we should go online, and we are getting good feedbacks. So that is the reason we have to scale and we are going online. So we need your help getting our outlet online. So this must be his possible answer, and there are different possible answers you can imagine or you can get from them. Okay, so you have to identify the business problem. He want to scale, he want to reach to the broad customers, right? He do not want to sell for only 100 customers per day, but he wants the customers to get their pizzas delivered home directly. Okay, so this is his problem, that he is not able to deliver the pizzas on time and all. So this can be a problem, and there are multiple problems which in this use case the customer might be facing, but due to time constraint I would not be able to explain it further. But yes, you have to identify the business problem, what exactly issue is there, what he's facing, what he's going through, and how we can overcome it. Okay, then define the scope of the analysis. So you must have heard about the SOW, statement of work, or scope of work document, where you have to exactly jot down what is in scope and what is out of the scope. So here in this case I would be writing that as in scope is like we will be only creating a web application and not the mobile application. Mobile is in scope 2. Okay, so this is just an example, but you have to have the scope of work where all the information should be marked as what all things will be covered in this scope and what all things will not be covered in this scope. So for example, now I will be writing that as creating an mobile application would be not in scope. Okay, so yes, or you can say that this system would not allow the feedback of a customer. This is the out of scope. So it depends upon the customer what he wants, and we have to write it down in the scope of work document so that we can get him signed. And once he comes back to us, right, after the project has been delivered, then we have it handy. This is the scope of work which was signed by you, and we have to perform that thing, right? The things which are not in scope of work or out of scope of work will not be delivered, will be delivered in the scope 2 or enhancements or the post deployment support. Okay, then select the business analysis techniques. So there are different techniques to do the business analysis in market. You have to choose wisely from that. Then determine the data gathering and analysis methods, like what all methods are there to gather the requirements, and what all the methods you will be putting down to analyze it. Okay, so for example, for gathering the data you have like different elicitation methods. You can do interviews, like focus groups, then you can do workshops, right? And there are a lot of ways. So please select it on the project you are working on, the type of stakeholder you are dealing with. So if you are working with more than 3 people as a stakeholder, or 5 people, then focus group would be appreciated, or the meetings, right? Or if you are working down with some crucial stakeholders, then you can also plan some interviews for them. Okay, then develop a work plan. So you should have a plan in picture, what you have to do, how you would be conducting the business analysis, what all steps, what all activities will be there. So scheduling an interview, then developing a document, sorry, creating a document, right? And all these stuff will be covered in a developer work plan. It's very vast and it's very deep, and due to time constraint I would not be able to focus on this, but this is the very crucial thing in planning the business analysis approach. You should have a proper plan, and you can use different tools to have that. Different project management tools like Jan charts is the best, and yeah, smart sheets also works for it. Then identify risk and constraints. You should also mention the risks which are vital to this project, and the constraints. So these are the important things which is important for a BA to note down. Then communicate the plan. So once you are done with planning your approach, then you should communicate this with all your stakeholders and all your team members in a written communication, or in a, oral communication with different meetings, or some mails. Okay, so you should have to communicate the plan with them. Then the second point is stakeholder analysis. So what are the stakeholders? You have to identify them, you have to prioritize them based on their level of interest, influence, and impact on a project, program, or an organization. So stakeholder analysis involves identifying the potential stakeholders. Who are those, right? What all different departments they are working in. You have to categorize them based on their importance and impact. Okay, assessing their needs and expectation, what they need, what they expect from this tool. Okay, planning engagement activities, how we should engage with them with different for example meetings, we have to engage with them, with different interviews, with different focus groups. So we should have a plan in handy. And monitoring and evaluating the effectiveness, like how well are we managing the stakeholders. So we should have that evaluation criteria with us. The feedback management system can be an example for that. So this process helps to understand the stakeholder expectations, develop effective communication strategies, and build stronger relationship with stakeholders. So, for example, I would like to give an example here for identifying the potential stakeholders. So, if we are taking an example, like we have to create a website for different we have to create a website for an college, for example. There are different departments in that college, like computer science, then electronics, mechanical, right? So every HOD would be a stakeholder. So we have to categorize them based on their needs, what kind of websites they need, right? We will be creating only one website, but what all contained, or what are they actually want to showcase, right? If you are making a tool, then what all things they want to have in their tool, right? So based on the we have to categorize them based on the engagement they are having, based on the interest they are having in this kind of product or website, or any tool, right? So we have to categorize them, we have to connect with them. So for example, if your stakeholder is from finance, and he wants to have that setup of like PayPal or any kind of payment gateway. So these requirements would be different in comparison to a person who is from operational department or an HR department, right? So everybody has their different expectations. So we have to manage the stakeholder, analyze the stakeholder based on their interest, expertise, importance. Okay. So next is requirement elicitation. What is requirement elicitation? Like requirement gathering is something different and elicitation is something different. How to prepare for that elicitation, right? Like everybody tells us, yes, elicitation, there are different techniques to do that. We have to go some we have to plan some interviews, we have to go in some sessions, right, workshops. But how to prepare for that, and how to conduct an elicitation activity actually, once we are ready, right? And the documentation, how to do that. So yes, requirement elicitation is the process of identifying, gathering, and documenting the requirements of a system or software application. It involves techniques such as interviews, surveys, focus groups, observation, and prototyping. So prototyping is POC. You can create a prototype for your customers, potential customers. So in pre-sales, prototyping is a technique they use to get the customers into their organization. Okay, to collect information about the needs, expectations, and goals of stakeholders. So this is a requirement elicitation definition. And the goal of requirement elicitation is to ensure that the requirements are complete, accurate, and consistent with the stakeholders' expectations. Okay, then how to prepare for that requirement elicitation? So the requirement elicitation is actually a crucial step in ensuring that the process is successful and produces accurate and relevant results. Okay, so there are different steps you can consider while you are preparing for that. Like identify the stakeholders. I told you how to identify them, categorize them, uh, check what all departments they are in, uh, how important they are, right? And how what all impact they are having on this product. So you have to identify the stakeholders. There can be different stakeholders in your project, like the actual end users, the product owners, the project managements, right? And different people who are actually interacting internally or externally with this project, so they are your stakeholders. Define the scope of the project. You should have the outlining the or underlying the scope, in scope, out, in scope and out of the scope. So you have to define the scope so that you are setting an clear expectation to the stakeholder. This will be delivered to you, okay, as a product. Research the domain. So yes, so whatever project you are in, research the domain. For example, if you are in finance, you should research what are jargons or expectations or the principles are for that financial domain. If you are working under some marketing, if you are working for creating a product for a marketing company, then you should have some basic knowledge. You have to research for that marketing tools, strategies, what actually marketing is, what are the target audiences and all, okay. Develop an elicitation plan. So you should have a plan in place for elicitation, okay. How you are going to elicit the requirements from the customers. So you have different techniques to do that. As I explained, that we have different techniques like interviews, focus groups, observations, right? So you have to develop. So, for example, first step is, if you are going to do the interviews, plan for that. If you're going to have the different sort of meetings, plan for the meetings. You have to send the actual invitation to them. Okay, so this all things would be uncovered and develop an elicitation plan, okay. Then prepare for the interviews. So if you are going to have interviews with the stakeholders, you should be ready with what all questions you are going to asking to that stakeholders. You should also be prepared with the domain knowledge. As I already told you, you should research the domain, right? So you have to be fully prepared for the interview. So while doing that interview, you will always keep in mind the scope, right? What all questions you need to ask to him, the out of scope thing you should know, okay. So this is how you prepare for the interviews, okay. Then and also grab the feedback from them. What are they looking into, okay, and try to ask them open ended questions, so we'll get more input and more information from them. Because technically stakeholders are like, they just know the idea, but they do not know what all things we will be needing to get that product in the market, right? So you have to ask them open ended questions like, why you need that, okay. Do not tell them yes. For example, he gives you an requirement, okay, we will be doing that. No, why you need that? So this is a kind of an open ended questions. So until and unless you know why it is being asked, please ask the open ended questions, okay. So this will be helping you to prepare for the interviews. Choose the right elicitation techniques. So for example, depending upon the stakeholders, their importance and their interest into this product, you have to choose the different elicitation techniques. Like if you are if interviews are okay for you, if surveys are okay for you. Because if we are having lot of audience, lot of different audience as your stakeholders, then surveys would be best. And if you are having small amount of people, because at the end of the day you do not want conflicts into your calls, right? So you want to pick the right elicitation technique which works right for you and your project, okay. Establish a feedback mechanism always. So it's very important. Like as a BA, I have encountered it lots of times. For example, if you are having a session, planning session or any kind of session, requirement elicitation session, for example, with the customers or the stakeholders, so you are done with that, right? And in your next session, the requirements are completely changed. Okay, it happens and it's very normal. So you should always establish a feedback mechanism. So whatever you are giving or providing in this particular session, you should document it somewhere, get a signed off. Or for basic example, what I usually do, if we are not done with the requirement is elicitation, but I just want to confirm that these all topics are covered and this is being the decided outcome for these topics, I just send an MOM. Okay, that works. And lot of you can use any techniques. You can just create a draft, get it signed from them, it works. But then you will have it handy for your further things. So establishing a feedback mechanism is also important. So what he thinks about what we have done. So for if example, if you are showing him some flow diagrams, right? So what he thinks about it, is it meeting the requirement what he needs, is it not? So establishing a feedback mechanism is always important while we are doing the requirement elicitation. Okay, the next point is conducting requirement elicitation activities involves a series of steps and techniques that are designed to identify and document the needs, goals and expectations of the stakeholders, such as introduce the team. You have to introduce the team, okay, to everybody out there as a stakeholder, who is working on what role. So this introduction is important. So if any of the stakeholders have to have some discussion with that particular personality, they know whom to reach out. Okay, and the purpose of the activity, why we are conducting this requirement elicitation, what is we gonna achieve through it. You should have that purpose with you. Establish rapport with the stakeholder, guys, this is very important. If you are having a very friendly, not so friendly, but very professional or very good relationship with your stakeholders, you are building that kind of relationship with him, that yes, we are giving you the best possible outcome, we are engaging with you on different discussions on requirement elicitation, how we take his feedback, right, how we encounter the different issues, how we manage the conflicts within different stakeholders. So establishing rapport with the stakeholders is very crucial. Use appropriate elicitation techniques. So yes, I have already told that elicitation techniques are very important when you are engaging with different stakeholders. You can use different kind of elicitation techniques, like going on interviews, surveys, focus group, observation with different kind of stakeholders. It's not like that, for example, if I'm working on interviews with this particular A stakeholder and I should always be using the same technique with the B stakeholder. No. Then ask open ended questions. Yes, this is very important. That's how you get that stakeholder talking with the right information you need. Take feedback, and that's how you conduct the requirement elicitation. Okay, now we will move to requirements management and communication. How to manage solution scope and requirements, how to manage requirement traceability, and how to communicate requirements. Okay, so we'll be focusing on one. Managing solution scope and requirement. So solution scope is, for example, now you have done the requirement gathering and now you are dwelling with the solution, which which is the possible solution which might work or which will work for the stakeholders. Okay, so this involves defining the boundaries of a project. You're defining the boundary, the scope, what is in, what is out, identifying the stakeholders, who are the potential stakeholders, what are their interest, how they are impacting this product, and what are their interest. Okay, gathering and prioritizing requirements, how you are gathering the requirements and how you are prioritizing them. Okay, defining acceptance criteria. For example, now you have the requirement. For example, yes, we want a mobile application where a customer can log in and log out. So you have to define the acceptance criteria. Acceptance criteria, when meets the requirement, is complete unless it is not complete. So you have always encountered while creating an user story, we have context, we have description, and we have acceptance criteria. So only when the acceptance criteria is met, it is said that the requirement is completed. and then we can deploy it. So this is very important while managing the solution scope and requirements. Okay, establishing a change management process. So in every point of time, customer comes back and he asks for the change of requirement, so you should have a plan for that. Okay, how to process that changes. So if we are in agile, then it can be accommodable, but when we are having in waterfall model, then it's very crucial and we should have a change management process and plan. Okay, and communicating regularly with stakeholders. So now we have sprints, we have sprint reviews, right? So whatever we have created, okay, we are updating the stakeholders on regular basis, whether it be weekly, whether it be bi-weekly, or once in a month. Okay, depends upon the sprints which you are working on. Okay, and if you are not working on sprint, if you are in planning phase, then you know how to update your stakeholders for that kind of documents you're working on and the communication which is happening. Okay, by following these steps, you can ensure that the solution meets the need of stakeholder. Whatever you are providing, the solution will help the customer to solve his problem. Stays within the scope of the project. You have to stay with the project, with the scope, and not the out of scope. So if you are saying we are only creating the web application and not the mobile application, you do not have to worry, your developers do not have to worry to adjust that website so that it can open on a in a different mobile application. Okay, he do not have to scale it, or he can scale it, but he do not have to worry about that how it will look into a mobile application. Okay, so you have to stay within the scope. So guys, this is just an example. Please do not think it likewise. Okay, I'm just giving short examples so as to save the time. And is okay, so this is how you can deliver the requirement scope in a concise manner. Okay, and it is also very important to control the scope. So for example, if you're working on some sprint and customer comes back in with a different sort of requirement, then obviously there would be a scope creep. Okay, so you have to handle that scope creep. So basically you have to always have the control over the scope of the project, and that's how you're going to do that, with the help of the SOW, which is signed by a customer. That comes very handy. And it's very deep topic actually, how to work on that SOW, and how to involve with stakeholders and communicate with them for the complete information, how we cannot or how we can involve or accommodate the new changes. It's some certain different topic, but yes, it's very interesting how BAs do that. Okay, so managing requirement traceability, it involves, so for example, now we have created the requirements, right? And for example, now one of the feature of your web application is login feature. Okay, I want to log in into web application. That login feature will have like 20 user stories or requirements. So if for logging, you should, you can be able to log in via LinkedIn, via your Google Meet, Google account, with different sort of social media accounts or any kind of handle, right? So this is a kind of need or requirement for that complete feature. So there are hundreds and thousands of requirements, or lot many requirements coming under one feature. How we are relating that feature, tracing that feature to those requirements, then how we are actually verifying that requirement, how we are actually mapping that require to different test cases. For example, now your tester is being told to test the login feature, right? He has to know what all test cases are there, and what he should be able to trace back if this requirement is fulfilled or not. So here is the thing which I'm talking about, the traceability, requirement traceability matrix, that is RTM, which involves creating and maintaining a traceability matrix that maps requirements to their source, verification method, and status. It is essential to monitor changes to requirements, analyze gaps in the requirements coverage, and report regularly to stakeholders. So, this RTM will be beneficial for you to uncover the missing requirements or the gaps if there are any. Using software tools can help automate the process and ensure accuracy. So, there are different tools which help with RTM. to create an RTM. So, smart sheets can be an example. Effective management requirement traceability can help ensure that all requirements are addressed, which eventually will reduce the risk of missing critical requirements. So, for example, if in your matrix you are not having the login, you're having the login feature but certain requirement is missing. For example, if the person tries to log in and he is not having the valid email id .com or something, some validation rules, then you should get an error message, right? So if this is not being there, then we can easily uncover that yes, this requirement has been missing. It comes handy, the RTM. Okay, requirement traceability matrix. Then communicating requirements is a crucial part of the requirement analysis process. You should use clear and concise language to describe the requirements. Okay, the language should be appropriate and the customer should be able to uncover what is being communicated, avoiding technical jargons. So, for example, if I'm using some financial jargons which the customer knows, or but the development team doesn't understand, right? So it will be again error or risk kind of thing, right? If the developer is not able to understand the financial jargon, then what is it used? So you should always be clear and concise and avoid the jargons or ambiguity, any confusions. Okay, use visual aids such as diagrams or charts to help illustrate complex requirements. Okay, so we have different tools, videos, draw.io, lucid charts, to have that kind of visual aids created. Okay, involve stakeholders in the communication process. Always make sure that your stakeholders are with you while you are communicating, while you are doing some updates, while you are working on some projects. They need to know what has been in progress. Okay, such as by conducting workshops or reviews. That's how you communicate with them. Okay, to ensure that the requirements are well understood and meet their needs. Okay, so this is how you communicate, you manage the requirements, and you manage the solution scope to avoid the scope creep. Okay, and this is very interesting chapter, like enterprise analysis, how to define the business need. Okay, now you know that this is the requirement and we have to define it, but how to define that, how to access the capability gaps, you know, we can also look onto this topic. Then how to create solution scope. Now you know that yes, we have to create a scope, but how to create a solution scope. Okay, how to create a business case. Business case is a document where everything is written down by a BA, so that a product is being developed on those scope line items, or the problem statement and the specific solution has been given into the business case. So let's start with that. Define business needs. So identify the problem that needs to be solved or opportunity that needs to be leveraged. Identify the basic need or the issue. Okay, conduct a need assessment to understand the current situation. So need assessment, look out for that. Like for example, now you have the list of needs or the list of problems, you have to assess it with the customers. Okay, to understand the current situation, you will be asking different sort of questions to understand what he is doing right now to address this need. Okay, or a problem, how he is dealing with that. The desired future state, you have to consider that, you have to define that, how this application will look like when we are going to be live. Okay, the desired future state. So now he's doing his all the work manually, but now he wants a tool for that. Okay, to help him out on the daily needs. And the gap between the two, you have to assess the gap. What is the difference between the current situation and the future state? What all things you need to implement? So this is very important. Define the business needs statement. You have to define that, the problem statement, right? When you are creating an BRD, you have that business needs statement, that is a problem statement, the problems faced by the different stakeholders, which should clearly and succinctly describe the problem or opportunity. Managing the traceability, requirement traceability. Okay, Access cap- so yes, access capability gaps. Conduct a gap analysis to identify the capabilities and resources needed to achieve the desired future state. Then identify the gaps between the current and the future state and prioritize them based on the impact and the urgency of the customer or the stakeholder. Then create a solution scope. You have to set the boundaries um, of the solution by identifying what is included and excluded. Identify the stakeholders who will be impacted by the solution and involve them in the solution scope definition. You have to make them understand what will be in scope, what will not be, and you will be doing that with discussion with them. Okay. Define the solution scope statement, which should clearly and succinctly describe what the solution will achieve. What is the end goal? It should be derived in the solution scope. Then create a business case. So develop a business case that justifies the investment in the solution. The business case should include the problem statement, the desired future state, the solution scope, the benefits of the solution, the cost of the solution, the risk of the solution, and the return on investment. So, what all benefits will be there if this solution has been implemented, right? What is the scope of the solution, right? And what is the desired future state? What is the problem what he's facing? And return on investment is also important. So for that you should have that handy, or the records of that stakeholders business, what they are doing currently, and then you can deduce the ROI on them. There are different sort of formulas to deduce that. The business case should be presented in a clear and compelling manner to gain stakeholder buy-in and support. And once the business case is approved, then you can start working on that planning and all. Okay. So requirement analysis: how to prioritize and organize requirement, how to specify model and requirements. Okay. How to verify and validate the requirements. So to prioritize and organize requirements effectively, first understand the business goals and categorize the requirements based on their importance and urgency. You have to sort the categories. Okay. Define priority levels using numerical scales or labels and create a requirement backlog in order of priority. So we are talking about agile here. So in agile, we just have to create backlogs and we do not have to worry about which or mm, which all requirements are important and impactful, right? So once we are created with the backlog, it depends upon the stakeholders and different engaging customers, which requirement is important for them, so that will be going into sprint. So this is how they are prioritizing and organizing the requirements. And their this backlog should be updated regularly, and the priority should be communicated to all the stakeholders that this is going to be in this sprint and this will be in the next sprint. Okay. To specify and model requirements, so create requirement models such as use cases. Modeling is nothing but creating different sort of visual aids, user use case diagrams, activity diagrams, sequence diagrams, and there are different visual formats and different tools like videos, Dot.io, and different free tools, so you can use that for modeling your requirements, so that your customers or your stakeholders are well known about what is being created, because visual aids are very important rather than having the handy material. Okay. To verify and validate requirements, review the requirements, validate it by the acceptance criteria, test it with the help of the QAs, or you can also test it with your, if you are having the domain knowledge. Trace the requirement with the help of RTM, requirement traceability matrix, and document. You should document everything. Now in agile, it is being said that we do not have to create BRDs, FRDs and all, but yes, you should have a proper plan to document it. Like in Jira we have Confluence, we can document all the things there, if not BRDs and FRDs. Okay. Yes, the competencies. So BA should also have these competencies. Okay. So analytical thinking, it refers to the ability to break down the complex problems into smaller parts, analyze and evaluate them systematically, and draw logical conclusions based on evidence and data. So this is very important skill which a BA should have. Draw, like you have to cut it down into lots of different pieces and then analyze those pieces to find a sense, a meaningful requirement. Okay. So analytical thinking helps to do that. Problem solving skill. So problem solving is a mindset which helps you to solve the problem of the customer. Okay. It's a process of finding solutions to complex or challenging issues. It also involves identifying the problems, gathering information, analyzing possible solutions, selecting the best options, and implementing it. So, having a problem solving attitude will help you to sustain in business analysis. Behavioral skills. So, behavioral skills is nothing but um, what we interact with, how we interact with people on daily basis, right? We have certain traits, how to react on certain situations and not. So behavioral characteristics are very important, as sometimes we are being emotional, right? Sometimes we are resilient, persistent. Okay, so when we talk about the persistence, so how persistent we are while we are working on a project. So even if we are getting some obstacles, we have to be very persistent. We have to have the responsibility of communicating everything to the stakeholders in a very crucial manner or any very brief manner, right? So these are some triads in behavioral characteristics. Then business knowledge. Obviously you should have some business knowledge. If not, then you can research for that domain and get it, so that you can understand the principles, the practices and concepts that govern the operations of an organization. So for example, if you're working for an e-commerce company, then you should know what all their practices are, what are their principles are, how they actually sell, right? So this will help. It includes the knowledge of finance, marketing, human resources, operations, and management. Depends upon the project you are kind of working on. Then communication skill. This is very, very important. It refers to the ability to convey information, ideas, or thoughts effectively and efficiently. It involves the use of language, both verbal and non-verbal, to interact with others in a clear and concise manner. Okay, communication skill is not limited to just interact, but yes, it depends. It it has a complete set of things: how you communicate, how you get the response, how you manage the stakeholders, right? So everything is coming into communication skills. How well you are dealing with the issues, communicating the updates to the stakeholders and all. Okay, it should be very clear and non confusing. Then software applications. Software applications competency is a crucial skill for business analysts, BAs, because they need to be proficient in using various software applications to perform their job responsibilities effectively. So yes, we are the time is up, and I'll leave you guys now, and let's connect on LinkedIn and see, answer your queries and all. Okay, thank you for staying there, and I hope this was helpful for you guys. Do let me know your feedback on LinkedIn. You can post on LinkedIn on the same post which I have been started with. You can do the comments, and also that I'll get a hang of what all things you need in coming. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a
Thank
good
you so
day.
much,
Thank you.
Poonam.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you. Bye bye.